Funny, they asked me before the game in the interview what I think is going to win the game. I said the first 20 minutes, and I was probably spot on because the first 20 minutes we were like outstanding. We didn't finish. I mean, there were a couple of times we forward pass and knock on in the 22 twice. Probably got the line out play wrong where we went around the front. We should have just stayed with them more because what had happened, there were 2 warnings for them before that, and then we probably moved away from going back to the mall because I think there probably would have been a card. So yeah, so Kuba said it's it's never easy against the Sharks. They're a multi-million rand team, and it's nice to get a win.
Is that the biggest hurdle to finish those opportunities?
Look, I think there's a lot of things. 7 games into competition. A lot of things we still got to look at. I mean, we let them score 3 tries as well, which, if you really analyse it, we don't want to give them soft moments. I mean, the one just before half time, Pepsi's try, we went through went through the line. And I can't remember how their last try. Well, the other try was we just again made 1 or 2 bad. Fussy. We practiced that play the whole week. Said they're going to play a play called called whatever it was, and we ended up getting narrow and let him score anyway. So yeah, it's. I think it's not just because of the defence. I mean, obviously that's an area, but there's a lot of things that we need to work on. But gee, I mean, you can imagine 7 games, 5 wins, a couple of bonus point wins as well with lots of tries. And I think at this point 3rd or 4th on the log. So yeah, so it's fantastic for us that we 1/3 into the comp. I mean, if you analyse it, there's 21 games you get to the final. We 1/3 away. There's still 14 games left. And if we're playing like this, there's no reason why we can't get better. Obviously when we get back.
Coach, you must be very satisfied though with how you just, killed them off right when they thought they're getting momentum back. They took the lead, point, but it seemed like they had some sort of momentum.
Look, I must say, guys, you watched the game. There were times where we just shot ourselves in the foot as well. We couldn't get out of the half. 2 direct kicks into touch. All of a sudden. But I'll tell you another thing I was really chuffed about, because I think it's something you guys have asked me for the last couple of years, is our scrum was outstanding today. Our scrum. Even that first scrum, I think, I thought we'd get a penalty there. They got a penalty. I mean, if you remember how much, we were obviously under the pump scrum-wise from the time we started here. I mean, our scrum is, it looks like one of the strengths of our game. So that's great for us. It's great that part of the game is right, because there's no reason for them to have kicked it directly out. It wasn't like we were under pressure, So, but I mean, saying that, who would have thought you get a 5-pointer against the Sharks? Especially when we were 17, 16 up at one stage, you never think you're going to get a bonus point. So, I mean, there's obviously a lot of excitement now. We're going to go on a break, and that it's nice to come back to work after the break and have that energy that's in the change room now. Obviously some guys are going to Japan, but maybe I can talk him out of that in the next hour.
Just before you get to talking people out of leaving. Can you just take us through the Benetton win and then leading up to the Sharks win? I mean, you had bonus points against those 2 teams, Benetton away, Sharks here who we narrowly beaten in the UFC quarters. Does that fill you with optimism in terms of how far you can go again in this competition?
Exactly that. I mean, it's not just bonus points against them. I think we got bonus points at home as well against Edinburgh. And so the nice thing about it is when we play properly, we can score points. I think I just said to Kubas, we need to obviously defensively be a little bit more stronger. And it wasn't like there was anything wrong with the defence system. It was just we missed 1 or 2 tackles and it came straight through. So, yeah, but it does give confidence. I think you can imagine now, when you're sitting where you're on the log now and you obviously you get a bit of a break, you get some time off, and you get time to recharge again. I've got no doubt that when we get back, obviously we're going to have to wait and see which guys can come back after their tour. They're going on international duty. So. And that's nice for them too, because at least they're going to get a new environment, and I'm sure they're going to learn a lot of things on this tour as well. So, it is a nice place to be in terms of the energy and the sort of vibe that we have now.
Just on Boss, you're substituted today.
Yes.
Is everything all right with him physically?
So he hurt his rib, and in halftime he said he wanted to carry on. I think as I speak now, they're busy injecting it. So we'll see how that sort of pans out. Obviously, I think he's going to fly tonight to the UK with the Bok team. So yeah, I'm sure our doc and our medical team will talk to their medical team about the injuries that we've got. And you know, as I said, then the call will be on the national team to then decide whether or not they want him, because they might have to rehab him for a while, or whether they're going to take someone else, in terms of the fact that, you know, it's a long tour, so I'm sure that he can always go, but I mean, it's not my call. So when he'll go, or when he'll come back, or, you know, whether he needs to stay in rehab here, or they got the staff to rehab there. So obviously I'll leave that up to the medical staff.
Hi, Jake. Jake, can you just touch base on Chris Smith's performance?
Yes.
And just his ability, you know, to kick in for the poles and
Yeah.
also give you guys that territorial gain.
Yeah.
And again, if you were part of the national setup, would you have taken him over to the tour?
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think there's a song called Mark Ali Billaboka. So, I mean, when you coach here, that's probably what you want, you know. But I've been the national coach, and I mean, they've got to pick who they think is the right guy, and they've got to pick who they think can win the World Cup. And it's not always easy. I mean, I was criticised when I picked certain players. I remember I got told that the captain I had was the 5th best hooker, and the lucid prop I had was should have retired when he came out of retirement, and I had a blonde-headed fullback who had silver boots, so they weren't too happy with those 3 players either. So, look, he's played well. I mean, Chris has played really well. He's kicked well. He made a few mistakes today, but I mean, that happens. But I thought having him and Goosen together opened up space on the outside. You know, I mean, there are many times we got around them based on the fact that we had 2 guys who could pass, you know, like really pass well. I mean, Chris's passing game and Goosen's passing game are outstanding. So, and we couldn't really put Goosen to 10 based on the fact that Chris has worked hard with us and Goose has been in and out. So it's not, there's no sinister about the fact that he played 15. I just think probably very similar in the way that he attacks to Kirtley, and he offered us another passing option. And you saw at the end there, as soon as we started going around them, when the door opened up. So yeah, it's I suppose I've answered your question. It's up to them. I think he's a good player. I mean, when he showed he's a great goal kicker. I've read in the papers about goal kicking is hell of important. And so who knows, you know, it's 4 weeks in touring. So, you know, if he gets a chance, that'll be fantastic.
Jack, a word on David Creel. I remember when you just arrived here, you said you need players that can play anywhere in the back line.
Yes.
You played fullback last year, started the season at centre, and now right wing.
Yeah.
Very good today.
Yeah, he was outstanding. I mean, I think again you know, we know the Sharks Cobus play an aerial game. I mean, they kick a lot, and they try and win the ball back, and that's where they attack from, because basically it becomes broken play. And I think the fact that he caught so many out of the air, and when he didn't catch them, he killed the sort of, you know, the scrap that was lying on the ground. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely, you know, his work rate as well. I mean, how many times did he come from one side of the field to the other side of the field? I think the fact that he played fullback, he understands what it's like to be a wing as well now. So, yeah, I'm glad he got man of the match. But I would say there were a couple of guys who really played well today as well. You know, when you're the coach, you see certain players that have put their hands up. And, you know, I'm just happy for him that it was a big game for him. And I'm talking about as in the Sharks and, you know, especially against that back line and the way that he played. I mean, I'm glad that he won that award.
Just before we speak to Walt, just a word on the gentleman sitting next to you.
Yeah, look, as I said, I'm trying hard to, you know, talk him out of it. I've even asked Harry's mate to have a chat to him about the last month and a half, you know, and it hasn't worked. But saying that, I mean, I think the nice thing about it, and this is the thing, Cobus, which is important, you can't hold on to everybody, but at least when they leave, you look after them, and you give them an opportunity to come back. And if you look at a guy like Marcel who came back, I mean, not, you know, Marcel who's going to come back, Marco who's come back. You know, I don't want to give things away, but there's a couple of other guys joining us in the break who've been overseas who are coming back. And that's the thing that we talk about a lot, is we can't hold everybody, but at least if there's a time that they want to come back, it's not done, you know, in bad taste. I mean, I wish him well. He's going to have a bubba next year, so his life's going to change a bit. And then he's going to, I mean, I've been to Japan, I've coached in Japan, he'll have great time there, you know. But he's not old that we never see him again. You know, when his contract ends, who knows? He might come back, maybe be a better player because he's experienced something else, and then we'll take him back.
Coach, before we go to the player,
Yes.
This break, is it a welcome situation, or you would have preferred to continue playing?
No, look, I think the break is, you know, it's a tough competition now. And the fact that we toured, So for us, it's probably, and there's a couple of guys who got niggling injuries. You got Ulrich Loh's got a niggling injury. You know, Krobi's got a niggling injury. Well, not niggling, but they've had surgery. So I think the next 4 or 5 weeks, you know, at least when we get back, we should have Carl Brink should be coming back as well, Jacques Duplessis. So hopefully, you know, the break is probably well timed for us, you know. And it's so much better because we've ended up doing well in the last couple of weeks and getting our campaign back on the road, you know. So, you know, it is. It's a tough competition, you know, and I think sometimes you need a bit of a break. You get away, switch off a bit, and hopefully when we get back on the 9th, I think we get back on the 9th, we'll switch on again and get ourselves ready for 2 home games.
Cool. Ja. Wat 'n bietjie 'n bittersoet gevoel om vanaand hier te sit en te dink dat jy dat alles so vinnig verby is by Loftus en dat jy nou groet.
Ja, kyk, ek dink ek het 'n extra game gekry en om by Loftus afgesluit. Die Sharks game sou die 10de Februarie gewees het. Skuif hulle hom vir nou, so ek dink dis perfek en met die performance wat ons vanaand gegee het, kan nie verbeter vra nie.
En jy tyd met die bulle.
Ja, ek wil sê eerstens dankie vir Coach Jake. Dit was ongelooflik. Ek het elke oggend met 'n smile Loftus toe gery. Ek dink nie die ouens is lekker, die coaches was top coaches, so ek kan nie verbeter gevra het nie.
Can you repeat that in English?
English. Yeah. No, I said, so my time at Loftus was great. The coaches are top notch. The guys are great. The teammates, I think.
In the last game.
And the last game at Loftus, it wasn't a plan. I think my Benetton was my last plan, but they moved the game. So it was an awesome experience, and to win it is great.
Wat dan in terme van Japan toe te gaan? Jou verwagtinge daar? Jake sê die sushi gaan lekker wees.
Coach Jake het my by Italië gesê, die kos is lekker, maar ek gaan nog steeds Suid-Afrikaanse kos natuurlik mis, maar is 'n nuwe uitdaging. Ek was nog nie oor see nie. So ek dink ek moet dit 'n bietjie aanpak en dan kan mense altyd kyk, soos Coach Jake sê, om later terug te kom. Maar die geleentheid is daar, so moet net 'n bietjie my vlerke sprei.
Wat is dit moeilik? Is dit moeilik om in Suid-Afrika slot te wees? As mens dink aan uitslotte wat ons in ons land het, is dit 'n bietjie van 'n vloek om 'n slot te wees.
Ag, ek dink Suid-Afrika die beste slot en natuurlik ek kyk na Eben Etzebeth Jager, Franco Mostert wat 'n utility forward is. Dit gaan natuurlik altyd moeilik wees om daar in te kom, maar top ouens en hulle doen hulle deel, so top Suid-Afrikaanse slotte.
Question for Coach Jake. Coming up against a Neil Powell coach team. What do you make of the Sharks? I mean, you have interesting battles of the last period since you came here.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's interesting. I coached Neil in 1999. You know, he was under the 21 player when we went to a World Cup in Argentina. So, and I know he's a sevens player, and I know he's obviously has a different, well, not a different, he has a certain view on how he plays the game. And, you know, it's nice. It's nice that those coaches, I mean, those players that I've coached are now coming through. You know, got Jacques Fourie and Albert van der Berg coaching the Lions. You know, now, you know, obviously he's coaching the Sharks. Makes me feel a bit old now, because when I come down the tunnel, I see players who I remember as youngsters. But you know, I mean, I'm sure it's his first year. I mean, I think it takes a while for you to set, you know, the things that you want in place. Yeah, and you know, they'll be better. They've got 6 Springboks that didn't play today, and when those guys come back, I'm sure they'll be a different team completely. So. They've got a great depth, and I know I joke about it, but they've got an incredible team. They've spent a lot of money in their team. I mean, they've got coaches. Every time I turn around the corner, there's another coach standing there. And they've obviously invested big into this group of people. So I'm sure it's not going to get any easier. I think we play them on Old Year's Eve. So at the end of the year, massive crowd again. I'm sure we're on holiday down the coast, and there'll be another epic battle. So. Yeah, I hope I answered your question. I think Neil will, you know, he'll get it right. I mean, you saw what he did with the Blitzbook. It took a while, but once they were on a roll, he had something special. So much so that everyone around the world spoke about how good he was. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get it right before he gets it right.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So we'll be on a break until the 9th.